Here's a later mission in the game, not too far later. I'm not going to give away most of the game, but I'm going to talk about quite a bit of the single player because it is worth discussing, as mentioned in the previous part of this review. But here we are circling around an area here in Yemen, and this is a mission with Stump, also on orders from Mako, whichever. Anyway, like I said before with the unidentifiable characters, here we are circling around in a helicopter, shooting and destroying anything and everything that resembles terrorism. Yeah, that's right, fucking terrorism. Right, yeah, there you go. Take that, you fucking insurgents. Anyway, before I get too far ahead of myself and start eating red meat like a carnivore that I am, just happy for carnage. Wow, look at that, you got a missile launcher over there, he's going to try to take us down. But we're going to keep circling around to clear our landing zone. Now, as mentioned before, I'm not going to get into details about the specifics of how things work with the objectives, being that I've already mentioned it, but it really does help the game progress, and it does give you a sense of organization and of completion. It's like you want to go all the way through. You can't, obviously you can't continue on, but it does help out later on in the long run. It doesn't hold your hand, but it is a nice assist to players who may or not necessarily be good at first-person shooters. Anyway, as you see, the breathtaking nature of the graphics is astounding. The game visually stands out. Now, this mission in particular, because you're in the air, you're getting the drop on the enemies. The game does look exceptionally well at parts like this. As you see, missiles are just flying everywhere, explosions are going off. I don't know how he dodged that, unless it was a stunt double. I don't know. Did they program stunt doubles on the Xbox 360? I don't know. Email me if you know the answer to that one. Or, post a comment in this web zone. Wink, wink. Whatever. So, as you see, I'm shooting that guy down. The tip of the gun heats up like in most first-person shooters when you're using a rail gun or a turret or a tank cannon or whatever they call those mounted guns on a tank, which actually might be the correct word for it. No stereotyping, folks. They don't just wear towels making them terrorists. As you see this car moving up trying to take us down, and yeah, the only thing it took down was a fucking bridge overhead. Yeah, bridge as a crossing the roof to roof in this diluted neighborhood that, depending on where you're watching this from, may look like an area where you live if you're watching this from Chicago. But as you see, oh, I'm getting picked at. Where? Okay, cool. Let's take him down, get that out of there. It's really cool how you're getting the drop. You got to clear the landing zone so you can get in. The graphics just really stand out here, and that's one of the top reasons to play these games in HDMI, full 1080p. Take advantage of that high definition. You get a full scale of what you're looking at. The explosions are great. The graphics are great. The audio is phenomenal. You get a tremendous boost, and this is a game that has all of those. It just looks well and sounds well. It's an overall great experience. As you can see right there. There we go. So much for clearing a landing zone. For that, for that helicopter anyway, not for mine. We're the experienced guys here. Those are the newbies. As you can see, we're circling around again to get back on point here. Now we still have to clear the landing zone. Now we have to clear the ground forces as well. We have to defend ours and eliminate all RPGs, as the objectives show right there. The explosions are just evident. They're just awesome to look at. But sometimes it feels like, I mean, come on. Why did he have those barrels in there if he didn't want me to shoot at them? I mean, really? Can we be a little more inventive here, insurgents? Keep circling. Don't hit that. Then we're going to keep circling around. Going to pick off all the insurgents. Yeah, there's more over there, and they're dead as shit. Now we gotta chase the convoy. We're gonna take care of that. The enemies are just like running away because they know you're coming. They're not gonna attack you. But it sure is cool to kill them. I like this truck here. Yeah! Another explosion. I love explosions, depending on, you know, where they happen. Mostly in video games, they're very elaborate and very well done. Doesn't necessarily matter if it's a shooter game, a racing game, or an action game. If done correctly, they can be very good in terms of just how they look and how they feel. The graphics are given a tremendous show of power when stuff like that is going on, and the game can handle it. There's more guys right there. We'll just pick them off. I mean, look at this area. I mean, if you're an insurance agent, this is the only place you would want to be. I mean, look at all this shit. You would be rolling in the dough, as they say down there in Wall Street. Or, you know, if you're Donald Trump and you're encouraging someone to take a bet and show birth stat, fuck him. Fuck Donald Trump and his cotton candy woven hair. Anyway, as we're circling around here, we're going back to the location we were just in. We're going to put the turret down now, because now we're going to get on the ground and kick some ass. You know, we'll land. I won't go too far further into this mission because it is later on. So once we land, I'll go into another mission of just another aspect of the game that's going to be a first person. We're going to play a little bit of a mission from Preacher, which is 8 weeks ago. Not necessarily 8 weeks from that helicopter incident. It's different moments in each character's timeline. Now, you play as these characters throughout the entire game. This is going to be a totally different mission. It's not going to be an air assault. It's going to be an on-ground car chase. Now, there aren't too many of them in this game. Give you a fair warning now. If you have never played a racing game in first person, whether it's Forza Motorsport or Gran Turismo or Need for Speed, if you've never played a racing game in first person, be ready to be frustrated because this game gives you no third person option. Now, understandably, I believe the reason for it is they want to give you a different perspective on it, and that's cool, and I'm always going to be giving credit where credit's due when you're giving out something new and giving people a new experience. But it is a bit annoying at first because you're playing overseas. You're not playing in America, so the driver's side's on the reverse side. So even if you have played first person in racing games like Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport, unless you're driving in international cars, you're not going to be used to that aspect ratio. So it is a bit of a learning curve, unless you're a postal worker. But you know, it is a little bit of a learning curve because you're on the right, not on the left. And ironically enough, you take a lot of left turns in this game, so you got to gauge the distance from turn and speed and everything. I'm just plowing through here. I'm trying to chase the target down here, which is the main objective. Capture the target at any cost. And by capture, they mean just ram them. You're not going to, chase the guy down on foot. He's not going to get out of the car or anything. I'm not giving it away. It's just how the mission is set up. But the cool thing about this mission is how you're driving through, and with any of the driving aspects of this game. I know I said it's frustrating because if you've never played first-person racing before, but the frustrating aspect really starts to pick up when you make turns, and a little bit later on, actually coming right up around here. By the way, I know it by heart because as I was filming this, I had to stop 5 times because of the conditions that make me stop. It's just so frustrating because you're trying to get through traffic, and that's coming up right around here. I know it because I've done it enough. Now, as you see the sunset in the background, you got your windshield wipers going, you got a seagull hopefully crash on your windshield like that, there's broken glass, your tail light's broken. I don't know how you can see the tail light, but I imagine they're broken. Your rear view mirror, your passenger mirrors, your side mirrors, they're all fucked too. So make sure you got your AAA card, or how many A's are in that, I don't know. Anyway, as you're driving through the alleys now, you see the mud kick up, the windshield wipers are working, it's raining, it's windy, there's dust, dirt, debris, garbage everywhere. And these aren't just there because people live in these areas. That's the smart aspect of the terrorism angle and how this game was made from the stories of actual soldiers. It gives you a legitimate sense of what they go through when they're on high-speed pursuits, on foot, in helicopters, in vehicles. You get a sense. Now here's the traffic part. This part gave me fits because it's like you want to get into the right side so you can drive against the traffic, but you also want to get on the sidewalk, but there's always something in your way. Now in the left corner, which is under the rear view mirror inside the car, you can see as a meter says target loss. Now, this is where it would normally happen to me, and the more it fills up, the screen will turn white like you're fading out. But once you get closer, it goes down and goes away. That part there gave me fits, and it took me 5 times. And see how the sun just sets in like that? You get a nice backdrop of the city and everything. I mean, the driving aspect is very frustrating at that part, but in the end it pays off. The accident sequences, like right there, are really nice because, you know, you see the engine take a beating, the car's taking abuse. You're trying to keep up and you're trying to keep pace with the target. You don't want to lose them. There is another choke point right there because I kept going straight. You got to make a left turn. Here we go again, making another left turn. I'm getting closer to them. Another part of this that's really cool will be coming up shortly. There's going to be a fork in the road, and you're going to be forced to take the other way. But we'll get to that momentarily. But overall, I mean, it gives you a sense of inside the car, behind the wheel. It really feels good. We're going to go through a marketplace. The terrorist is going to do whatever it takes to get away from it, regardless if it's hitting innocent people, knocking down things on the sidewalk, even putting himself at risk, hitting garbage bins, driving through alleyways. If he's going to get hurt, as long as he gets away, that's all that matters. So you got to put that into account. So you got to be quick on your toes when it comes to the driving aspect of it. They do have brake and they do have reverse, but I don't believe in that. I drive fast. Fuck slowing down. Traffic laws are minute. They're just, you know, another way the government is monitoring you, as Jesse Ventura would say. The windshield keeps taking abuse. That starts to interfere with the driving, and that's the realistic angle of it. So you got the dust, the dirt, the mud, then you got the glare from the sunlight. There's so much going on here, but the traffic conditions are so frustrating because that's where you're going to encounter most of your issues. The controls feel good. The car turns as it should, left, right. It reverses good. The throttle's good. You know, for a little piece of shit, like a Yugo, like they used in Die Hard with a Vengeance, the car is, you know, it's not necessarily an econo car, but it's a piece of shit car. It's not something that you're going to be able to just get in the second gear and do 100 and catch the guy. I mean, we're not all driving Shelby GT 500s or anything. But see, as you see right there, I'm taking more abuse. It's reckless driving because you're trying to keep up. You can't drive conservative in this because there's a meter telling you you have to keep up. You can't lose the target. Through the voiceover work in the background, you're going to have your commanding officer going to tell you, left here, turn left, turn right. So that's cool. It's like he's being monitored via GPS, but you still have to make the physical capture. So that's another aspect of it. It's like, even though they're monitoring, you still have to chase them down, you still have to catch them. So that's cool. I really like the driving aspect of it, though. Even though it is frustrating, I know it says frustrating, I still like it. I'm not going to say it's bad. It could have been a little bit better, but I got to tell you, I love that mud reflection right on the windshield. It reminds me of MotorStorm on the PlayStation 3, which is a very fun but very challenging racing game. This isn't necessarily a racing game, but it's a racing element, and EA has experience. I'm going to crash the guy right on here. But, because he's starting to slow down. His vehicle can't handle this type of terrain, but yours can. So to close it out, given the nature of the frustrating aspects of certain things in the multiplayer, whether it's the making you feel like they're holding your hand with ammo, supply, here's the fourth one. This part's excellent. This actually got me a couple of times. I know I don't stay on one subject very long. Yeah, I got ADD or whatever. So, when I first got this part, I thought I was going to jump off this hill and collide right into the car, like it's some kind of big, cheesy Michael Bay style car chase scene, but that's totally not what happens here. It's a great chase scene because you're a part of it and it's first person and all, but it has such a lackluster ending. You just bump the guy, and that's it. Like right here. We're going to bump him, he's going to wobble a little bit, and right about here is where I do it. Right there, because he does make a turn and he's swerving, as you can see right there. The driving aspect of the game is a bit frustrating. It's very frustrating because, like I said, it's in the reverse driver's side and all that stuff, and the weather conditions, the ongoing traffic, the garbage, the mud, all that adds for realism. So I'm assuming it's frustrating for us as gamers, but in reality, it's life-threatening to the soldiers. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not realistic. It's more or less annoying, but it's not necessarily something that these guys can avoid. So they're going to let us know what they see and what they go through. Overall, Medal of Honor Warfighter isn't a single-player game that disappoints in terms of technical issue. It isn't a single player game that disappoints in terms of story, music, graphics, presentation, and overall realistic feel. I can't say that the game is technically perfect. I mean, there are a lot of issues in the technical aspects of this game. For instance, the ammo pickup and the grenade pickup seems like it's infinite. Like, you can constantly walk up to teammates and do that. It just never ends with that. But there's a list of the things I like. The action scenes are excellent. The explosions, as you saw in the first part of this review, when you blow up the truck and all those the tractor trailer pieces come flying down. There's so much going on there. But like I said, it's very disappointing the campaign is short. But in that regard, let me just say, I feel that it's short because I played it on normal. I'm assuming it's a longer campaign if you play it on the higher difficulties. But I think the reason that they did that is because they don't want people necessarily flying through the campaign, boom, boom, done on the hardest difficulty. But they don't want to necessarily add a ton of missions, because then it's going to feel like, they put that there to make up for the lack of missions. So it's kind of like watering it down, or maybe making you feel like they're forcing you to play these missions. But overall, the campaign is short. I was a bit disappointed, but the ending is the payoff. That is the payoff. When you watch this ending, it is totally rewarding and totally worth it. I can't speak enough about the cutscenes in this game, including the ending. But like I said, there's so much going for this game, and there's so much going on, and there's so many things that I like about it. But it's these technical issues that I have that kind of make this game a little bit weaker than it should. I'm actually giving it a higher review than most websites are. But these issues right here really bother me. Like, there's instances where your teammate, if you're trying to cover, he'll run past you and bump you, and it knocks you out of cover. That shouldn't happen. The AI should tell him to run around you, not through you. So that's a bit frustrating. The enemy AI is prototypical first-person shooter, like duck, cover, and he's ducking. You can take one shot or two shots, he'll pop up, and then you can get the headshot. The headshot meter, whether it's red or white, it encourages you to get the headshot, and because the AI is so weak, you can pull them off. So other than that, like I mentioned already, the teammate provided ammo, it's constant and it never ends. And that's basically the short list of what bothers me. I know there's going to be a lot of things that I didn't mention that a lot of people have noticed, but I'm going to stick to it just with these things here that keep me from giving it a higher score than what I gave. I'm going to give Medal of Honor Warfighter an overall score of a 3.5. Now, I know I gave the multiplayer a lower score than that. That score did not count towards this score. I've rated them both multiplayer and single player. They're two totally different things. So I'm not going to give it an overall score, but I will base the single player score and the multiplayer score on what I found in each of them separately, being that they're on their own disc. But I'm going to do that with every game. I'm not going to just give a cumulative score with everything to account, because I feel that's kind of lame. But overall, Medal of Honor Warfighter is a solid game. It doesn't get the credit it's due, but I feel that it is a much better game than people are giving it its due. I think it's a game that you should definitely check out, whether it's on the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. Medal of Honor Warfighter gets a 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely something you should check out, and I highly recommend it. It's a very, very good game, but like I said, there's a lot of technical issues in there. And that's it.